Haircut and everything, or all the
Say again?
got a haircut and everything?
I just comb my hair. I'm not wearing a hat. Hell, Brad's got a tie on. What the hell's going on there? Mickey has one too.
Yeah. Honor of you combing your hair.
Yeah.
You were talking yesterday after the game about how important it was for you to get off to a fast start after coming off a live season.
Yeah.
Can you go into that a little bit, just what it does as far as establishing the culture and message you're trying to reinforce?
Well, I mean, it's just like anything, regardless of what happened the year before, whether you come off of an excellent season or a disappointing season, it really does start new. And clearly, in this pandemic, era that we're in, 2 years in a row, the training camps are different. The off seasons are different. We had a lot of changes during our off season, with player personnel and coaching staff. So there's still a newness. I mean, there's still things that go on in each game. This is the first time I've worked with Dan Quinn. I mean, there's things that going through with Kellen Moore, year two, that things you didn't experience last year. So I mean, you still have different first-time situations come up. Now you talk about them, you practice them, but there's nothing like the real experience in a game. So with all that, put together, you still have to find ways to win. And winning in September is difficult. I think the preparation period for an NFL football team is significantly different in the past. Some people like it, I don't. And I think to prepare your team to play quality football, to get your play style to a point where you're comfortable as a head coach, and to get the quality of play to a point, it's different in today's world. So winning is a little more of a crapshoot in these early games. I mean, and I think you see that because there's so many. I mean, just over the weekend, you see it. I mean, the games are incredible the way these are coming down to the wire and so forth. And but is the quality of play where you want it to be? And then that's something I pay close attention to. So finding a way to win those games and to continue to grow as a team is critical, because that's really the foundation for your season. And because you just look at the historical statistics of if you go 1-5 or 1-4, it's very difficult to climb out of those holes. And the beauty of it is it'll be interesting what the extra game gives to the season, because I think it's going to make for a really exciting first 2 weeks in January. So, but yeah, we're building a foundation for the success that we want to have this year, and we're off to a pretty good start with a 3-1 record.
Is the quality of play there at this stage of the season that you want in early October?
In fairness to doing this job for a few years, the standards are different. I think you have to, but I like where we are. I could tell you. I mean, compared to last year, and because the number of players that played last year versus plus the new ones, we're doing so many things significantly better in our preparation phase. Our preparation as far as the missed assignments. We had our best missed assignment production report yesterday in the whole time I've been here. So that's definitely big progress. We break down the mental phase of the game between missed assignments and mental errors. Missed assignment is really the alignment assignment, the actual what to do, and the mental error is more about the decisions you make during the activity, the action of the game or of the play. So you're always going to have more mental errors, because that's football. That's decision of quarterback throwing it to one guy or the other, or the running back, or a declaration, and a pressure alert that you pull the trigger on versus So, but those things you're going to have some of those during the course of a game. But so we're doing much better, clearly, than we were last year.
Are you seeing the fewer mental errors more so with the younger players because they are playing a little bit more?
Our penalties are high with the younger players right now. If you look at the breakdown of our penalty report, that's a trend that in my experience is normal, particularly on special teams. Because your younger players have their first opportunity on special teams, and that's where you get more of the combative penalties. We had, I think we had 4 pre-snap penalties, and they were all well sprinkled. But I think the 3 other ones were younger players. So, but that's kind of where we are.
Mike, in addition to the rookies, I think I counted 8 veterans that you have on defense who came new this year from other teams. What's been the secret in getting them to gel together?
Well, I just think that the whole operation on defense is it's impressive. It starts with Dan Quinn, and the new veterans have bought in. I mean, clearly you can see that in the spring, the way it started to come together. It created a significantly increased competitive environment. Our defensive room is so far more competitive than it was last year. So I mean, it's not even close. And then the other part of it is, injuries has given a lot of opportunities. Dan and I were talking this morning, and we've had 30 players on defense play throughout the first 4 games. I mean, that's significantly high. I mean, if you think about it. So, I mean, that's usually in the teens in my experience. So it's on over a 4-game period. So to have 30 players already contribute on defense, that excites us because we feel like that'll really help us move forward. And then when the other guys do come back, it's the competition's still there, and and like we talked about in training camp, we're going to need every one of these guys.
What's it like to have a normal week?
Excited about it. Talked about in the team meeting. I mean, they have a normal 7-day week, and I like the way our team's preparing up to this point, and I think it's important to take that into this week because it definitely gives you a great opportunity to start fast. I know we had the 3 and out there in the first series of the game. They caught us on the blitz there in the first play, but we came right back on the second series. So I think the preparation phase and the emphasis on starting games the right way. 4 games are off to a good start.
Neil and Bradley back. Anybody else back? Come back this week.
I haven't had the final meeting with Jim. Actually, he was just finishing up before I came in here. Did you get a chance to meet him? No. So I know, Bradley and Keanu both were getting a test today. So I anticipate them back tomorrow for sure.
Has anyone been added to the COVID list?
No additions.
Mike, Dak has talked a lot about how he trained his mind while he was injured when he couldn't train his body. How have you seen his mental toughness or his mental clarity in the game different this year?
Well, one thing about Dak, when he's here, when he's on campus, he's totally engaged. I mean, that's something even if you go out back to Oxnard in California, when he wasn't practicing, I mean, he's right behind the huddle. I mean, it's clear and concise what he sees, the communication, what he saw. So he's always engaged. I mean, frankly, that's his personality. But when you talk about taking mental reps, he is an outstanding example of that. So I think that's a big part of his success.
In your career, have you seen that help quarterbacks avoid hesitating, or I guess play without hesitation?
Well, the reality, if you're not the starter, that's really your method of preparation. I mean, when you don't get the live reps, you're either going to get it in the video room or standing behind and paying attention and be totally engaged to what's going on. So, and it's definitely those are opportunities to sharpen your skill.
How's Amari feeling? But he had a hammy obviously early game.
Just talking to Jim earlier, in the morning, he thought he was going to be fine this week, but like I said, I don't have the final report yet.
Something like that. Do you say with him, because what kind of ball player he is? Hey, just take your time coming back. We'll get you ready for Sunday. Be limited all this week.
I think when you find out too is with these guys, and especially our veteran players, and Amari's an example of that. These guys, I mean, they know their body. They're really engaged not only what they need to do here, but what they do, with the outsourcing. So yeah, but they know what they need to get ready for a game. So it's what I've found in more probably in the last decade. There's been many times in my career where you say, hey, once you shut it down, we're going to, and then the guys will be like, well, hey, I need at least 10 or 12. So I mean, they're that engaged with with their workload capacity, and it'll probably be the case with Amari this week.
What do you learn about Amari's toughness? He played through a lot of injuries last year, stepped out there this year. You know, he had the cracked rib and the tight hammy early in the game, and still played through it and make plays. And skilled position guys don't always get tagged with being tough. You know, they're the quick guys, but usually think they're like running backs and linebackers. But what have you learned about Amari's toughness?
I mean, personally, I have a hard time with not calling a professional NFL football player not tough. I mean, with all the positions, what these guys do on a daily basis, you know, what they put their bodies through physically, you know, it's impressive. I mean, they're unique. I mean, they're gifted. So, and you know, Amari's personality, obviously being quiet, but he's very consistent in his approach. You know, he wouldn't probably talk about it, but he's the guy you go down there late at night or early in the morning. He's on the elliptical. So I mean, he knows what he needs to do to be ready. So and I trust that, and that's part of learning your veteran players. But you know, particularly that was a process I had to go through last year.
McCarthy, Amari.
I thought I was back in Pittsburgh. That's they call you McCarthy, you think you're back at home. Yeah.
Amari has said that he feels like, because he wants to be great, he's inclined to push through injuries, and maybe certain players are less inclined because of their, motivations about what they want to get out of this sport. Is that something that you've seen over the course of your coaching career? Is some guys have a lower threshold for what it takes to take them out of the game, while other guys, it takes more to get them out of action?
I mean, I think that's fair. Yeah, I mean, there's every player has a history too. I think like a lot of times I know we have reports, but that are important. But they do push through a lot of things just during the course of one game. And that's why I think we go through it all the time in here. I mean, it's we may not have totally the whole medical report till tonight. And then so we'll start doing a projected 48 tonight, and then tomorrow. But really, once we get till tomorrow night, where we're doing the scripts, we'll have a really pretty good idea who's going to practice on Wednesday. So, but yeah, I think they all have different levels of threshold, and I think that science is much better today than it was years ago, and I just think there's a lot better information out there to help these guys take better care of their bodies.
Leo Collins can be in the building and believe now. Yep. What can he do? What can he do? And what's the benefit of having him around?
Well, this is where he should be. I mean, I think this is a time when a player goes through any type of situation, as LC is dealing with. I mean, they need to be here and be part of it. I mean, this is he's done a tremendous amount of work. To get ready for for the season. Obviously, the situation he's dealing with, but not to be able to be here, I don't think how's that help? So I'm just glad he's here, and but he's able to work out and to be a part of certain meetings. But I mean, there's limits to it. But he's been there the whole time.
With KZ's hit, what do you tell him? It looked clean. I don't know if officials react to the crowd and the oohs and ahs of that, or
what'd you think?
That was clean. Did it look like he led with his shoulder? He didn't hit him in the head?
I would support that article. I mean, that's a great question. I mean, I saw him briefly after the game and talked to him again this morning when he was walking in, and he went shoulder to shoulder. I think maybe lower the target line a little lower, but he's trying to separate the football. So, I'm sure there'll be more discussion over the play. The irony of it is, and I'm not going to put the official out there on the spot, but I had a conversation at that moment, and the guy that was in position, he thought it was shoulder to shoulder. And if I recall, the back judge didn't throw it either. I mean, the two flags came from from the umpire and the other side, probably two guys the furthest away from it. Now, I mean, it was a heck of a hit, and I think that's something I've seen that happen. There's a reaction to the impact of the play sometimes. They don't have clarity to exactly what went on. So, and they talk about these things all the time. So, if that particular play went to replay, I would be for it, and I just think that it could be a game changer. That's a potential big play. I mean, plays that happen over the middle of the field are usually north of 15 yards, so it could be an impactful play.
How much more of a challenge has that been from a teaching perspective for your coaches in terms of teaching players what you can do when it's live action like that?
Oh, no, that's a challenge. I mean, and no doubt about it. I mean, it's changed the safety position, and for sure. But it's just like anything. I mean, it's a new technique, and you can't really, teach it in full speed. I mean, so I think when you are in the full speed, shell work and things like that, you just continue to emphasize targets and trying to separate the football. I mean, it goes under defensive players. So how do you argue that? So.
Thank you.
Good go.
With
You got a real one, or you make
no, I got a
up
real
one?
one. I didn't think it was that big of a pause. With Dak, we asked you about it yesterday, about 1 year since he got hurt.
Yeah.
When did you, at that game, when did you know it was bad? Like,
Oh my goodness, right away. Yeah, I mean.
so when you're walking to him, you knew it was something that it was.
Yeah. Very much so. Yeah.
What do you think of the reaction in the stadium?
Never seen anything like it. I think it shows, the love that people have for him and the respect that they have for him. I mean, to see both sidelines come together like that and the way the crowd reacted. So I've never seen anything like it.
When you're walking to a player, because you've had that situation before, are you trying to say what's the best thing I can say in that moment, or do you just let the moment take over when you get up to him, or how do you handle it?
I pray, I'm praying. I mean, I'm not much help out there. I mean, it's a medical situation, so I'm just out there to make sure he's just checking on him, So, yeah, that's hard to see those guys in that spot.
What kind of impact has Al Harris had on Diggs?
Well, I think he's had a big impact on him. I think Al playing the position, and Al's as tough as as hard-nosed bump and run corner that I've ever coached. So I mean, I think he brings a specialty of the technique and the discipline of it. So I think he's definitely helped him from that part of it. And and I think Al's taken a mentoring role in Trayvon as far as how to approach the game week in and week out. So no, I think it's been a big help for him.
Is there a cachet that those guys have when he's played 12, 13, 14 years, however long he played, that guys automatically give him credence to, hey, this guy?
You mean he walks in the room?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think as former players walk into the room, they definitely have credibility when they walk in there. I mean, it's this generation that we're coaching now. I mean, they've been mad in their whole lives. So I mean, they probably know more about Al than Al probably wants them to know. So, but yeah, no, it definitely brings credibility to the room.
You guys have gotten off to this 3-1 start despite injuries to Tank Lawrence, guys who've been out because of COVID. You guys have had a lot of key pieces, like Michael Gallup out because of injury. What kind of message have you and the staff presented to this team about being able to overcome that adversity and still come out here and win 3 of your first 4 games?
I mean, the biggest thing is to stay connected on a daily basis and just adhere to the standard. I mean, we've put together 4 pretty quality football games as far as how we played. I mean, there's been enough football in every game where we're in a position to win the game. I mean, that's really the first hurdle you have to get over. It's one thing about winning, but you got to get yourself in position to win first. So and I think with that there's a standard now that's been set. We have 4 weeks. I know they've been disjointed, but we've had 4 weeks of how to prepare for a game, the emotional kickoff, leading up to the game, I was impressed with the guys. I asked them to get there a little early yesterday, and the locker room was full. I mean, earlier than I can recall, especially for a noon game. So they're paying attention to the little things, and with that, winning is the ultimate credibility to all this. When you win, it's the way you do it is, everybody grabs a hold of it, and when you have a guy like Dak Prescott leading the way, it's tremendous. It's tremendous help.
Do You anticipate any of the IR to return guys to start their practice window this week?
No, not this week. I know that a couple of them are getting close. Just saw Britt, before the team meeting, and so Kelvin Joseph's getting close, but I don't see any practicing trying to be up for the Giants.
Any update on Diggs' back?
Yeah, I think he's going to be fine. Yeah.
On that note about winning and kind of what it takes to go along with it, Dak and Amari yesterday were talking about the idea of building a winning culture. What have you already built that you think you want towards a winning culture, and where do you still want to go?
Well, I think the most thing about culture, it never stays the same. So, I mean, it's not like you build it, then you got it, and then you just ride it out. I mean, it's an everyday focus. I think the biggest thing in culture development is communication, and the most important part of communication is listening. And frankly, the most important part of listening is listening to your own language. So, and I feel like that's something that our group has really bought into. I mean, they ask good questions. The work ethic's top notch. So, but how they interact, how they connect, the way to do things away from here, I think all the group dynamics. If you ever see us on a road game, you go down to the meal at night to snack, you see, 20 guys down there. So there's the camaraderie on this particular locker room is high. That's important. So all those things factor into it. But the way we communicate and the way we message and the direct honesty that that coaching staff has to bring, consistently to the table is important. But just like anything, when you win, that's the ultimate. That's what really adds to it.
The long Zeke run,
Yes.
it seemed like a pretty total effort between backside blocks, frontside Zeke. I was just curious, when you look at the film, what stood out to you and how that play was executed?
Well, I just think, like anything, let's not just talk about that run. I thought we creased them a number of times, as far as our run blocking unit. So I thought our double teams were tight in the zone schemes. I thought on the angle schemes, the Collins, the angle pull schemes, we didn't have penetration. So I think we definitely took a big step, and we had a good day. We had a good day last week too. So I thought overall, just the way we controlled the line of scrimmage and the way we got up on the second level. We had a lot of respect for our linebackers coming into this game and their edge players, but the way our guys got after it inside, I don't know if I'm trying to think. I don't know if Zach Martin can grade out much better than he did, yesterday. So I thought all the way through, and I thought Zeke did a great job when he got to that second level, hitting that second gear. So I thought him and Tony both ran the ball well, but yesterday. But I thought the run blocking unit had a very good day.
The second will practice this week.
I hope so. Yeah. Well, that'll be a Wednesday decision.
Is there anything that happened with him beyond the heat related? Is there something else that or y'all just being cautious with him? Yeah,
it's my understanding is this is the plan of how you come back from what he was dealing with.
Thank you.
Thanks for